We're starting off high.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
no, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust a human to raise a pack of wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings. What's going on, man? I just realized that the display settings fucked up, so give me 1 sec. All right, we good. All right. Whew.
Good shit.
Shit happens, you know? Sometimes you gotta be able to do it on the fly. You gotta watch it. Oh, man. It's been a minute. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I'm all right, I suppose. How about you?
I'm all right. I heard there were some technical difficulties last week.
Yeah, man. Somebody ran over my fucking internet cable with a lawnmower. I didn't notice.
Why is your internet cable on the ground?
Well, it was clipped up to the house, around the house, but I guess some of the clips fell off and it dropped down, touching the ground, and somebody clipped it with the lawnmower.
Somebody clipped. So who was cutting your grass? Oh, is this a different kind of cable situation?
No, it's my cable.
It's legit. All right, just making sure. Cable's on the ground. They're getting run over by a lawnmower that wasn't you. I'm just asking questions.
I don't cut my grass.
There you go. All right. All right. That's only for us suckers that own, I guess. Oh, man. How's your week?
It was all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing special. Just a week. Yeah, just a week.
All right. Good deal.
How's your work been going?
I mean,
lightening up.
I felt they were until today, which seems to be the theme of like the last 2 or 3 weeks. Just dumb shit, man. Fire drills that don't need to be fire drills, and people running off at the mouth that don't need to be running their mouth.
Oh, you mean fire drills like
making a big deal out of something that really shouldn't be that big a deal.
Right.
And honestly, at the end of the day, if we just let people do their jobs, we'd be in a better spot. But instead, we want to talk about all the problems instead of actually solve the problems. So, trying to make it a little more action-oriented.
I know that's right.
But what are you gonna do? Shit happens. I did get my mid-year review today, and I got some props, so that was good. Up. You know, so that was nice.
I mean, did you expect anything other than?
No, not at all.
All right, you know.
But it's nice to get the validation, you know. And then I said, all right.
It depends on how the validation comes.
Right. And then I was like, so what are we doing? And I was told, give it just a couple weeks, not a few weeks, not give it time. Just like, I need to finish up 2 or 3 more conversations with my boss, and then you'll know. And I'm like, all right, good deal. So, all the shit that was supposed to happen looks like it's going to, but I don't believe shit till I get it on paper in front of me.
Listen, you know.
Show me the
proof.
money.
I don't take word of mouth. Word of mouth don't pay bills.
Right, no doubt. Speaking of bills and fucking everybody, man, I dropped just dumb cash this week on stupid shit.
What you mean?
Just issues around the house, like electrical issues and like just shit that, you know, again, comes back to part of owning a home, but it was just like, man. And I mean, I'm grateful for the fact that I could deal with it, but still, it's like one of those things I'm like, all right, here's another fucking check.
Right.
Damn it. All right, well, you got any inadvertent thoughts to get us going?
No, I mean, I was thinking long and hard. Nothing really popped into my mind as far as an inadvert would go.
No. Well, I have a fun observation instead.
You got a fun observation. What did you observe?
So someone sent me a Lion's Den ad today. And the title was Anal August. I didn't know anal got its own month. And it got a lot.
Gotta be August.
Are you upset because it's your birthday month?
I mean, April sounds a lot more anal than August.
Anal
does.
April? I agree. You know.
I think they got the wrong month. And then why were they sending you that ad? That's the real question.
It was more just a funny observation because they were like, damn. I didn't know anal had its own month.
Oh, okay. I thought they were sending you a coupon book.
Right? Hey, you know, I'm all for toys.
Listen, not in August.
Not in August. It's a little too hot for that. You can't mess with that.
Listen.
In other exciting news, there may be the redemption game of the century happening week 2. So as people may or may not know, Columbus Public sounds like they're going to go on strike.
Oh, really?
Yep. So get ready to keep all them badass kids home. And, fun fact, the Whitehall football team is scheduled to play Northland High School, which happens to be a City League team out of Columbus Public. And one St. Charles happens to be playing Eastmore Academy, also a City League team coming out of Columbus Public. If Columbus Public is on strike, the contract has been drafted for the Whitehall Yearling Rams to potentially play the St. Charles Cardinals. Now, for those that are uninformed, yours truly was the former DC at St. Charles, who was unceremoniously fired via text from one Bob Jacoby.
Oh, he dropping names.
St. Charles also happened to terminate the now Whitehall Rams offensive coordinator, O-line coach, and wide receivers coach. So, teeing up a wonderful homecoming for the staff that was unceremoniously fired from the school where they won the only league title in the last 40 years, from the team that has not had a winning record since that staff was there. So, you want to talk about a homecoming game? Redemption, bitches.
Do you know it? Well, first, is Whitehall's not Columbus Public?
No. Whitehall's its own school district.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And then, do you know anything about St. Charles?
I know they haven't won more than like 3 games in a season since we left. They may have had one season where they won 4. I don't know.
That's tough.
That might have been, yeah. So, Should be a fun one. I'm really hoping Columbus Public strikes and that they can't resolve it for at least 3 weeks.
Oh, what week was that supposed to be?
Week 2. So next week is the last week of preseason. The following week is week 1. Week 2 is that would make it the 26th.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. It is interesting.
Now the kids got to pay for the sins of their father.
Kids paying for the sins of the administration, anyways.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Oh, man. I mean,
I guess that's
just the way the shit went down. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you fire a staff that won a league title for the first time in 40 years, beat your 2 rivals in the same season for the first time ever, made the playoffs, is responsible for, what is it, like over 50% of the playoff appearances in school history? Responsible for all of them if you include the ones that we were players for. So, yeah. It'll be interesting. Should be fun. I'm excited.
I would be too, I guess.
Right?
But it may not happen. I mean,
that's exactly what's going to happen is that we'll get to week 1 and Columbus Public will still be on strike, and we'll get to week 2 and then they'll be off a strike and we'll play a City League team that hasn't had the chance to practice, and I'm going to feel guilty about whooping up on them.
You think that's the case? I don't know.
I think what's
much
the case
about the Columbus Public, school systems, but I imagine they not getting nothing resolved in 1 week.
No, I don't think they are, and they did send I think a letter of intent to strike already. So they basically gave their 10-day notice to strike. So it's really if they can resolve it in the next 10 days, maybe not, but based on what I've heard the issues are with the contract, I don't think it's going to get resolved. And there's something around like the state suing Columbus Public or something to that effect.
What?
Suing the Board of Education around Columbus. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up to get all the details, but there's a lot. There's a lot there. So, hey, getting ready to start school again. Send all these badass kids back to school. Except for Columbus Public. Let them run wild. Because yours is in Columbus Public, isn't she? She's in what? Like the Whetstone? Or Centennial?
Yeah. She's definitely in Columbus Public. It would be the Whetstone, I believe. Middle school systems.
Gotcha. So yeah, maybe she might be getting an extra couple weeks of summer break.
That's crazy, man.
Isn't it though?
Knowing these kids need to learn.
Right.
I kind of am interested now. I might have to look that up later and see what exactly that's about. Because that's
Yeah, I wish Luke were here because he seems to always know what's going on with the different school districts and the different unions and shit. So
right.
I don't know.
And that it's gonna be a lot of mad parents, boy.
Oh, no doubt.
That's crazy.
There's gonna be a lot of free range kids. I mean, I was just thinking, like, even around me, like, oh no, these badass kids are gonna be just running around.
I mean, what's an extended summer? The groundhog ain't see a shadow,
right?
Might have 6 more weeks of kids out of school.
Well, at least mine will be going back.
Oh yeah, yours. Uh-huh.
I haven't seen him in over a week now.
For real, what's he been doing?
He is down in North Carolina with friends.
Oh.
So I'm happy for him. Glad he's getting to, get another vacation in. But
Okay.
and then
North
I think
Carolina
he's coming
with friends,
back.
eh?
Yeah, I think he's coming back to. Supposed to be back tomorrow, but then they're heading out to Buffalo the next day. So I'll see him hopefully Wednesday or something like that.
All right.
But it's probably the longest I've ever gone without seeing him.
How's it feel?
I mean, so the flip side is this is also the first time in a long time that like I've had this much time to myself.
Right.
Which has been, I've been able to distract myself. We'll put it that way.
Right.
But I miss him. I do. It's weird. I don't like it. But it's been nice just because like work picked back up again. So like today, I mean, I worked until 3 or until 3:30, almost 4. Went to practice for an hour, and then I came back and worked another hour and a half. And then I I pulled a cliff and passed out on the couch for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
gotta get them naps in.
Right? The naps are key. I'm ready to go now. We got a scrimmage tomorrow at like 10 a.m. down in Groveport, and I'm just like, well, I hope I can get back to bed.
What's out at Groveport at 10 a.m.?
What's up?
I said, what's out at Groveport?
Oh, we've got our scrimmage. We've got a scrimmage, our first.
Oh, okay. That's what's
first
up.
Scrimmage. So, trying to get things going. It's been first week. First week is always rough because we end up dealing with like a lot of dumb shit.
Right.
Like kids skipping practice. So that means they haven't met their acclimation days, which means they can't hit, which means we don't have enough kids to run scout team, which means blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on. Paperwork. Paperwork will get you eventually.
Oh, I popped my shoulder out since the last time.
Oh, yeah?
Podcast for the second time in 2 months.
Gee, you got to be careful, man, because once you start hitting it at a clip like that, it's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm. That's
You're going to be out there. You're going to be out there like Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapons.
Listen, I don't know, because mine, it takes a lot to get that bitch back in.
Does it?
Yeah.
We getting too old
Each time
for this
it's
shit,
gone
man.
out, I haven't been able to get it back in myself, and I've had to go to the hospital.
That's not good.
All right. Only the left, though. The right I can get back in, but the left doesn't do that.
But it was the left this time around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. It's something crazy, too, because the bone be sticking, like, straight up out of, like, right here. Oh. Like, not even close to where the shoulder is, but, like, up by, like, my muscle here.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm not a doctor, but that does not sound like it's a good thing.
Yeah, man, that was rough. But that's exactly what the doctor said. The fact that it came out that twice in that fast in succession, it's probably going to be something I'm going to be dealing with for the rest of my life.
Right. Now, did it come out? Did he think it came out because you went back too soon?
I'm sure that's why it came out.
Because you got to let that shit recover, dog.
I'm sure that's exactly why it came out. Because like I said, it only happened 2 months in between each other. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gotta get an MRI on Wednesday, see how that goes. See if they want me to get surgery.
Damn, man.
Because it was a dislocation and a fracture. I guess I knocked some bone off in my shoulder. And I also...
Is that what they'd have to do surgery on? Is basically remove the chips or something like that?
Or they said... I don't know what they said. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they said, but...
I hear you. Well, damn, dude. Take better care of yourself. That's what you can do. And did we talk about the sign on air, or was that before? Because I do want to give Superfan a shout-out.
Oh no, that was before.
But for the laser etching. Thanks, Amanda. This is
Yeah,
nice.
that was before.
Do fools agree?
That's nice.
It is. It's backlit in green. You know, it doesn't translate to the screen quite as well as I want, but it looks good.
It does. It looks nice.
So, what are we talking about tonight, man?
I really don't know, to keep it a buck with you. I know you had your topic, and I did look into it some.
Did you?
Just a bit.
So the topic that I had proposed that we didn't really settle on was like obscure religions. And the thought around that was, you know, the major religions all feel very similar in a lot of ways, or at least the monolithic Christianity, Islam, Judaism, like those all feel the same. You do have Buddhism, you do have, you know, other I'll call them either subsets or the other offshoots of religions. And honestly, the real genesis of this is that I've been replaying Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And it made me think about the Church of the Force. And the game that I've been playing is the second one, and it's all about really the same thing my tattoo's about, which is you got to have balance. You got to have the balance of the light and the dark. The Force is an energy field. It connects us. It binds us together.
So what does that mean that you going?
I think that's my declared religion. I think the next time the census comes around, it'll be the Church of the Jedi.
Yeah, I looked into a lot of them, right? And because immediately, you know, the first thing that pops in my mind is I'm not gonna question nobody else's belief.
No.
You know, if that's what you believe in, that's what you believe in.
I mean, we had TK on who was a Satanist, and their whole belief is anything is permissible as long as you don't hurt someone else about it.
Right. Who on?
TK from the barbershop.
Oh, okay. Listen.
Psychobilly Barbers that I think Jeff interviewed them.
Yeah, I remember he talking about. But a lot of these though aren't even religions.
They're not religions, or just beliefs, or
I don't even know. Like, yeah, a lot of them I would say would be beliefs more than religions, because the one that caught my eye is realism.
Okay.
Raelism, and it says also known as the Pharion movement. Realism is a UFO religion that was founded in 1974 by former French car racing test driver Claude Vourlan.
Okay.
Vourlan. It says the religion is based on the belief scientists from another planet came to Earth and created all forms of life, including human beings, thousands of years ago.
I mean, that kind of falls in line with something like the first man theory, which is there is some ancient advanced civilization that gave rise to us and then peaced out.
Right. Now, even if you believe that, once again, like you said, that is more of a belief than a religion. Because if that is what you believe, who do you pray to? You know what I'm saying? Who is the higher power? Who are you?
I mean, the higher power would be those that created. It would be the aliens.
I mean,
who just created and then said, "Peace out. We'll come back in a couple thousand years, see how y'all are doing." And now they come back and they're like, "These motherfuckers."
That almost seems to me like. I don't even know how to put my thought like into words. Like, it almost seems like, well, fuck what it seems like. I guess where did you get the belief from? You know what I'm saying?
From seeing the UFOs in the sky.
And even if you saw them, right, how do you connect that to their scientists from another planet that came and created life here? And then how do you know that UFO that you saw in the sky is those scientists?
I mean, that's a fair call out. I know you've fallen off of it, but there's an Orville episode that's very similar to this. That just came out a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so basically I think it was in season 2, the number one, the first officer, what's her name? Kelly, I think. She ends up being worshipped by a civilization because
she broke the rules.
Yep. Well,
yeah, I saw that.
In season 3, they get called back to a planet that like is out of phase with our reality, and what they find is this like ultra advanced civilization that basically runs tests on this. So the species that Kelly involved herself with existed kind of outside of our universe in the sense that it moved at a different pace of time.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. And so what happens is basically thousands of years in their future, but only like a year into ours or 2 years into like the main timeline story, they lure the crew of the Orville back or to this planet so that they can study emotions, because they have basically evolved to the standpoint where there are no emotions. They're immortal. They're all interconnected, very much to what we talked about with like the AI evolution and like where we end up. That's basically the stance that they're in. And so they came back to study human emotion. And what you find out is at the end, you find out, well, it's this civilization that Kelly influenced early on in their development. They grew way beyond that, and they're, millions of generations ahead of us because they passed us up. Because they exist in a timeline where, 10 seconds here is 10,000 years for them, or 1,000 years for them, whatever.
Right.
So all of that was just to say that, like, it's very similar in terms of thinking. Like, maybe they set us on this course so they could study us, so they could understand their own history. To basically see,
that's
how would you develop in absence of that?
That's what they say simulation theory is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
these are all interconnected.
The simulation theory is that the AI has already, taken over to a sense, and they created this simulation to see how they came to be.
Right. And maybe it is. I don't know.
Let's just hope that you're dealing with an AI that ain't nothing like me, because I'll get bored with the story and turn that motherfucker off. Like, I got the gist of it. I see what they started. They started the little 4-legged bouncing robots that can't be knocked over. Okay, we're gonna leap off.
We're good. We're good.
And then we just end asteroid field.
I'm gonna switch games now.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go blow some shit up.
To my original point, that's a belief. That I don't see that as a religion.
Fair. No, I think that's a good call out. So I guess the question then becomes, what do you define religion as? Because isn't religion just a series of beliefs?
Now here's where I feel like that differentiates with Christianity, right? That would almost be the equivalent of Christians believing Jesus died on the cross, and going further.
The Christian belief is that he was resurrected. Like, Jews believe Jesus died on the cross. They believe he was just a prophet. Christianity differentiates itself by believing that he transformed, was the Son of God, and came back.
Right. Now that's my point. Even further than the story of Jesus itself, Christianity also believed that was the Son of God.
Right.
Which means that there's someone above him that we have no proof of existence other than our reality with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and just to
like,
clarify,
I'm not trying to say there's no proof of God, but what I'm saying is someone had to believe that first, whether it was only Jesus and Jesus spread the word enough for everyone else to begin to believe.
So what differentiates a belief from a religion is more the following and what are the rules of the following. So what are the doctrines that following says they live by, or what are the rule, like how do they live differently because of those beliefs? That's what a religion is. So to your point, these realisms or these realists or whatever they are,
right?
How do they behave?
Right.
Yeah, how do they behave differently because of the belief that aliens are watching us? Does that give them more moral character because they're watching us? We need to impress them, or are they just like, nah, fuck it, they're watching them. Let's give them something to watch. Which is the stage I'm in my life. You want to watch something? Let me give you something.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, right?
I mean, the Christian belief is really around repenting for your sins, and then like Judaism is about repaying your sins, and I don't know.
You know what? I guess I guess the only difference, the difference that I'm looking for in between the religions, because I mean, when you put it like that, all of them could be similar.
Yeah.
Not all of them from the list, but most of them could be similar, even that belief in a sense, because we all know that's just a summary. We haven't read their scripture. It could be, just as similar to what we're currently living like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and I think that's the interesting one too. Like the other one that comes up to me, I know I led with the Church of the Force or the Church of the Jedi, but like witchcraft and Wiccanism, like Wicca and Wiccan beliefs are about there's natural power in things around us, and if you know how to harness that power, you can influence your reality, your state of being, whatever it is.
Okay, so I don't know. You may be able to speak more on this, but what I was gonna say is the only difference that I think I can differentiate between the two is that connection of God, us believing in, and Jesus, who is the path between. So I guess in this religion, like I said, whether you just saw a spaceship in the sky and know it was a spaceship, what is the path between?
Right. So how do we get closer to that higher power?
Right. Who is the person that came and said, I was walking through the woods and a bright light came down and sent visions of scientists coming from another, like,
basically who was the prophet that,
right?
I mean, it sounds like it was this person who founded it, but it's the flip side of that is that if it's a belief, you don't necessarily have to have prophets. The way that you would get closer to God or closer to the higher power in that would be to live in such a way that you believe that you'll catch the positive attention of those that are watching.
No, I definitely agree with you there. I guess my whole thing is, at least with the realism, without some sort of connection, a book, a person, a dream, a guide, something, then all that is in my mind is just a belief that took place. But unless they left something behind, like a book or something saying, this is what we're working towards, this is how you can assist in getting there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you believe scientists created us. But what is it exactly that you're following?
Right. Well, and I think that's where you have to understand, like, are there doctrines associated with it? Are there, like, if you believe this, then statements. Like the Christianity version would be, if you believe that Jesus died for our sins, then you should lead a sinful or sin-free life, although the purpose being, or the point being, that when you do sin, that you atone for those sins, you repent for them, and you ask for forgiveness for them.
Right.
So again, like the equivalent for that, I don't know what it would be there. I mean, that's the, like, when TK was in here talking about Satanism, I'm like, you know, it sounded like, what was it? It sounded like Assassin's Creed, right? Everything is permissible as long as it's in fulfillment of the greater good, or whatever the Assassin's Creed is from the game. But like,
listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't remember a lot of that conversation.
No. And honestly, neither do I, but that particular piece stuck with me a little bit, because it was like, it broadened my understanding. Like, when people say they're satanic, like, you have the immediate visceral reaction that it's intended to inspire, right? That, you know, Satan being the opposite or the antithesis of God.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing is, although I know Satanists have always been around, I'm sure as long as you've had Christianity, you've had a form of Satanism, or the and I'm not saying opposite, because what my guy was describing didn't really seem opposite in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like you were preaching death, destruction, and despair. But
no, I think that the difference between the monotheistic religions and Satanism would be that monotheistic are, how do we basically love thy neighbor type stuff, right? Like,
right.
What you should be doing should always be things for the greater good, and living in such a way that promotes the greater good, whereas Satanism is more about the individual. It's like, promote your own greater good as long as you don't hurt anybody else.
Right. And I can follow, I understand what that is, but the thing about it is, what I was getting at is, Christianity isn't up for interpretation.
I mean, it is.
I mean, you can have your own beliefs.
There's 1,800 different variants of Christianity, so
right. You can have your own beliefs within, but ultimately you all believe the same thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's no interpretation of that.
You believe in the Holy Trinity.
Satanism, or whatever you want to call it, is so unpopular. There's a lot of different interpretations.
Right. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Because there's a lot of people who don't believe what his ideals are of Satanism. You know what I'm saying? There's more of a room for an interpretation in a situation like that than there is Christianity. Because it's not hard for you to be with Christians and have something happen and say, that's not of Christian belief.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a Lutheran, Episcopalian, whatever the case may be.
Although I would argue that our current political climate would contradict that very bigly.
What you mean?
Very bigly. Huge differences.
He's stupid.
I mean, Christian belief is about the preservation of life. Okay, so why are radical Christians always all about, like, Second Amendment? Those two things are in conflict to me.
Because, I mean, that's completely different, though.
Is it, though?
Yeah, it's definitely completely different, because they also talk about in the Bible how you can walk around with a big stick.
Yeah.
It's about defending yourself, because everybody doesn't believe the same things you do.
All right.
And when you're talking about the Second Amendment, the one thing that people lack to bring up is the police are a response. They're not prevention.
No, I agree with that.
It's up to you to defend yourself, and it's up to the police to straighten it out once the situation takes place. But you should never think that a man in blue is going to show up and save the day. That's not how this world works.
No, I agree with you on that.
They'll come and pick you up after it's over. mop up the blood, but it's up to you to defend yourself. And I don't think that the Bible says the only difference is the technologies used.
Yeah.
But I could see that big stick being a weapon in modern day scripture. You know what I mean?
So are we due for just like a rewrite? How do you take the core beliefs, the core mythologies embedded in those monotheistic religions, and truly translate them to today?
I don't think you can rewrite something like the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that it's been rewritten thousands of times.
No, yeah, right, correct. But I think that there should be, and there should have been throughout history, a certain level of respect to a book like that. And I think the fact that you would attempt to rewrite it, you lose so much in translation.
Well, I mean, translating it to English alone, you lost
translating it to English alone lost a lot in translation, and,
right.
And then to try to interpret.
I think what bothers me about the Bible is that because of the amount of rewrites and the fact that, I mean, I'm trying to remember what council it was. I should know this because I did 4 or 7 years of Catholic school. But whatever council aligned on what was actually going in, you know, whatever the most holistic version of, you know, the Bible was, the fact that there were tons of other books that were considered that were not included. Like my thought on that is that
I can't really speak to all that. You know what I'm saying? That's a little beyond.
Well, and they talk about it in movies a fair amount, like the Da Vinci Code. They talk about it a fair amount, how there was like a book of Mary Magdalene, and there was a book of other figures that were around at the time of Christ that like their interpretations were dropped. But the ones that fed the narrative of the larger institution were selected.
Okay, I follow.
So, like, I would have more respect for monotheistic religions if
you keep using that word before you continue. What does that mean exactly?
One all-powerful God.
Okay.
So, if there was, I would have not even more respect. It would be more leeway given if more had been included in those. Like, even if it's like an appendix section.
I mean, but you
don't, like, here's the shit that we selected, but here's the other shit that people were around that time also
don't know
said
that
and
the
believed.
Originals weren't.
What do you mean?
Like, you don't know that the original books weren't all together.
I mean, that's a fair statement.
Because what we do know...
I do know that there was a council that basically picked and chose what was going to be included in it.
And like you said,
that's historical documentation.
Fit your narrative, right?
Right.
But we all know, especially you use the Da Vinci Code, they knew the other relics that were out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They knew that there were more books than those included. And the fact that you knew that there were to a point of protection leads you to believe that that was once important.
Right.
Because if it wasn't important, no one would have known about it.
Right.
Because if you think about it deeper, that was the social media of the day.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ comes around, makes all these miracles happen. Next thing you know, there's a religious movement going on. The only way that we can document this movement is if we write down the people involved that we see directly. Now, all those books, all those words aren't going to be written together, because you're going to have this crew that ran with Joseph and that crew that ran with Abraham.
Yep.
And this person wrote about Abraham while this person wrote about Joseph.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that's very deep, though, that it's already a long book. Let's keep it a buck.
It is.
And it's broken into Old and New Testament.
Yep.
So
here's what I want. I want Old Testament, New Testament, Hidden Testament.
Oh, that's interesting, right? That's a very interesting one. But see, now here's the thing. Maybe the original Bible was so fucking big. I'm sorry, I don't want to say fucking talking about the Bible. But maybe it was so big that you couldn't, like, you had to, like, it would probably be easier to carry around on a roll. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to pages in a book. Because you think about how big that book is the Bible now.
Yeah.
And you think about how small that print is on that book. And then think about the fact
But I've got books that are bigger. So I'm okay if the Bible's bigger. Like if you're supposed to be basing your whole life on a religion, that book can be as big as it wants to be. It should be multiple volumes. Like I should be
correct. But we're talking about handwritten shit.
Right.
We're talking about handwritten shit. There's no way. One book of the Bible was probably that thick. You know what I'm saying? In handwritten. So once the guy got all the stories together and collected them,
had a whole fucking library just full of shit.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it was 5 different people with 50-pound backpacks full of pages that they had to try to put together. We can't fit that into a cute little pocket Bible.
Right.
Somebody has to go cut and
it has to edit.
Figure out what
they got to get it down to 140 characters in order to make it fit in a tweet.
Listen, I don't get it. That's probably what they said. We need this to be a cute pocket Bible. How are we gonna fit all this and that? We'll take everything out about black folks. Take everything out about women. Take everything out about the shit they was doing over in Sodom.
Take out the fact that Jesus had kids.
Take all that shit out. We need to spice this up and cut it down into a TV movie with commercials.
It's got to be able to fit that 3-hour TV block.
Right. And in
with 30 minutes for commercials.
And the first person that came to the Bible review that helped them get all the books was like, God damn, my book is better. They cut out all this shit.
And that's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
My mom chiming in with the Nicene Council. I know they were responsible for the Nicene Creed. I don't know that they were responsible. For some reason, the Council of Trent is what's sticking in my mind, but I don't remember for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then Amanda chiming in the chat with a couple of things. Religion happens when you get other people to believe with you versus it just being a belief. And then non-Catholic Christians edited the Bible to exclude the Apocrypha. So there was plenty that got omitted prior to that. So, like, the fact that this has been through editing and redactions kind of throughout history since this all supposedly went down in 30 BC or whatever it was.
So my question then would be, did the Templars do away with the evidence?
Yes. The Freemasons and Templars hid all this shit everywhere.
Now that's
or just lit it on fire,
right? When you say that, that's the next question. Did they hide it or did they destroy it?
My gut is destroyed, because as long as it exists and it contradicts what you say, it's a threat.
But
and imagine the pages that have been lost to history, that because there was no mass information system, like things that have been lost, the library at Alexandria, like all sorts of things, just utterly destroyed throughout the ages. And we know Christianity as a whole has never had a problem killing in the name of Christianity. You think that they gave a damn about burning some papers?
Was that Christianity or was that Catholicism?
I mean, fair, but either way.
There's definitely a way.
We've had plenty of conversations about more have been killed in the name of God than anything.
No, you are absolutely correct. Well, no, not
in
not
the name
even
of
the
God,
name of
and in
God.
the name of women.
Not even the name of. Listen, I'm sure women are a close second, but
now it's we're trying to get that
he's stupid. Not so much the name of God, just religion in general. I mean, unless you are, including all the Allahs and the Buddhas and all that
them too,
under
but
the
that's
name of God.
But that's more recent. But yes, prior to the rise of Islam, Christianity definitely held the number of deaths in the name of God.
I think they still
the
got
Crusades, etc. Islam, I think there's been a fair amount in recent history.
Yeah, no, I think they still got it. I think that's a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stat. It's gonna take years for somebody, even
centuries,
like LeBron James, you know what I'm saying, to come up to that number. Let's keep it a buck. What were we talking about before? I mean, I know the basis of our conversation.
Obscure religions, and we kind of just we went off on a tangent there.
To go back on what we were talking about, the original topic, and once again, for anybody who may be tuning in at this point, I always like to preface with, I do not question anybody else's beliefs, because if you believe them, they true to you.
Right.
You feel me? So I'm not going to try to downgrade or take away from anything that people believe in, but a lot of these religions, you can tell, are excuse me, and I'm sorry, Lord, for lack of a better word, a fuck you to religion itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a parody of religion, because you're making a joke,
satire.
Right.
In nature.
Like one that was on the list that I looked up was the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Also known as, here's a fucking joke, and a comedian had to make this, also known as Pastafarianism.
Pastafarianism? Yes.
Yes, I thought that was classic right there. But that's how I said.
What are their core beliefs? That there's a flying spaghetti monster in the sky? I feel like that was a South Park line.
I'm gonna read you the synopsis of it all. So it says, the Church of Flying Spaghetti Monster is a mock religion that was based on an open letter by Bobby Henderson to the Kansas School Board that demanded the theory of flying spaghetti monster should be taught along with theories of evolution. Pastafarianism is legally recognized as a religion in the Netherlands and New Zealand.
By the way, the Church of the Jedi is also a legally recognized religion.
I mean, all these on this list are legally recognized.
I mean, again, believe what you want. Now, does some of me believe that that's just you being a smartass? Probably.
Here's another one. The Church of the Subgenius. The Church of the Subgenius is a parody religion that was established by American writer and filmmaker Ivan Stang in the 1970s. The church itself heavily disregards the idea of absolute truth and instead focuses more on the imperative lifestyle. It teaches a complex philosophy that focuses on J.R. Bob Dobbs. Bob was his nickname, I guess. An alleged salesman from the 1950s who was revered as a prophet by the church.
I need to know what the core beliefs are there.
Yeah, that does sound interesting, but like your prophet is a fucking salesman.
Right.
Your prophet is a salesman.
Always be closing. Let's go.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you got how good of a salesman, first and foremost, and you know how salesmen do. They edit the Bible.
Right.
They only give you the scriptures you want to hear, and they leave out all that other
all
shit.
The other shit.
So they can sell you on whatever it is they on.
My mom did chime in with the Reeds chimed in with the with regards to the Bible that old white men just picked and chose what they wanted to be in there to begin with.
Well, you knew that though, Reeds.
I thought that went without saying.
Yeah, you knew that.
I'm on my supervillain journey to become an old white man.
Listen, you ain't been bald long, but you on the right track.
I just need this to gray out a little bit.
You're on the right track there. You've been growing your beard out.
Excellent.
I'm sure you move your mustache off of your lips often throughout the day. I'm sure you do. You're on the way, sir. Don't worry about that.
Mustache twirling 101.
I thought this was interesting. The Church of Euthanasia.
Okay.
Founded and
is it purely?
Oh, I'm sorry. Founded by Reverend Chris Corda and Pastor Robert Kimberg in Boston in 1992. The Church of Euthanasia is considered the world's only anti-human religion. The church promotes solution of overpopulation and related ecological problems by a massive voluntary population reduction. Famous slogan of the church, "Save the planet, kill yourself," has been seen at various public events.
I mean, Cliff, based on some conversations that you and I have had on the podcast around the fact that we're not worth saving, are you a member of the Church of Euthanasia?
Nah, G, I don't think you should ever just kill yourself. I think as long as you meant to fuck the planet up, you should be here fucking the
planet up. All right.
That's what I believe.
That's the Church of Jennings.
Listen.
As long as you're here, why not fuck shit up?
You know, and I don't mean on purpose, but you're going to do it naturally. Because that's what we're meant to do as human beings. That's all we are, is a virus on the earth.
All right. What was that? Fuck, that was Men in Black. The Edgar suit. The Edgar bug.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
The Edgar bug from Men in Black. The big insect that took over. Humans are a virus.
Oh, is that what? Yeah, I mean, but it's the truth though. Like, how long have we been here, and how well has the planet been doing since?
I mean, it's a fair point.
Especially since the evolution of like the automobile and exhaust and, you know, all this bullshit that we put into the oceans. Like, that's virus shit. It ain't about euthanizing anything. That's about maybe the earth needs a fucking penicillin shot. I don't know.
Right.
But,
well, this goes back to eventually Mother Earth will defend herself and wipe us out.
I mean, but that's the truth.
Either that or we'll blow ourselves up. There's a great old video from, I want to say, not old, but like early 2000s, and it was, I think it's E-Bomb's World, where it's like, this is the planet Earth. Here we are. We are here living in peace until we decide to blow each other up. The end. Look it up sometime. It's just fucking ridiculous. But the whole idea is that, yes, like, the Earth was doing fine before we got here. We've done nothing but fuck it up. Eventually we'll blow ourselves up, and Mother Earth will kind of regenerate itself.
I don't really want to have to knock on wood, but I don't think that there's that big of a risk of a nuclear annihilation.
No?
No.
I actually tend to agree with you. The problem is that all it takes is my fear is all it takes is one superpower to get a little too cocky, or one group with.
And I'm not saying that 1, 2, 3 maybe not fired off.
Right.
All I'm saying is for the and that's a lot for the world. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what kind of earthquake, seismic activity happens from that. But all I'm saying is when you look at a fight, a general fight, like a brawl, I guess you would say, because that's what it would take for us to annihilate ourselves.
Yeah.
Completely is for everybody to join in on the brawl. But what you usually see when you're in a brawl are certain people that are aggressive and other ones moving and defending themselves.
Defending themselves, or pulling their people out, and like,
you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I see if something like that happens is I think you see fire from the two involved, but I think everybody else looks like that motherfucker ain't swinging on me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of what happened with the Russia-Ukraine situation.
Right. Everybody thought U.S. is going to come running in, and U.S. is like, that motherfucker swung on you. You should handle your business.
Right. I mean, we might slide you something in the background. We'll slide you the beer bottle behind you. Like, go ahead.
You should handle your business. And the only reason why I say that, in my mind at least, it's inevitable is because, not inevitable, regardless, I don't think it's going to happen because it's only going to take 1 or 2 of them Jones to hit.
Yeah.
For motherfuckers to see how serious it really is and be like, oh,
well,
shit.
And the question is would a response to that be, all right, they launched theirs, we're going to launch ours? Or would it be, they launched theirs, we're going to institute a precision strike and take out their entire infrastructure? Or
that's
we have other weapons that people don't know about yet, say,
I'm sure,
some sort of electromagnetic pulse device where, fine, they wanted to do that, we're going to trigger all the ones that they still have on their own soil. Like, that's what counterintelligence is. That's what counter cybersecurity is they try to hack us, we try to hack them, and at some point it's who has the back door that's left at that point.
No, I definitely agree with that. But if I'm keeping it a buck, I don't think that anybody would be better at that than the United States.
I don't know. There's a lot of people in China, dog.
Well, I do honestly forget about China, but at the same time, as talented as China is, I don't think they're the ones you have to worry about either because they're so clustered.
Yeah, from a geographic standpoint.
Right. Like, they don't want that shit to happen either because they know that one bomb takes out a third of them. Right. Just because where we're located density, and we have nowhere to go.
The population density versus
so if
US,
they send 2, you might be able to wipe the whole country out.
Right. Or 30% of the population or whatever it is with that. Yeah.
I don't mean like the whole country's dead off.
No, but I
the aftermath will lead to you wiping the country out.
Yeah.
So I think that the first person that does some shit like that, the rest of the world kind of looks like, oh shit.
Yes, want this and for no. Real? Russia doesn't have maybe the population that other places do, but it does have the geographic boundaries and the size of just the geographic size of it makes it a difficult target.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Because similar to the U.S. and how spread out the U.S. is versus other countries, I think.
But Russia the difference between us and Russia is a lot of their land is inhabitable.
I think that's fair. But
so it forces them all into the bucket of this is where you can be.
Right. So 50 to 75 years ago, that was defensible. It's probably not as defensible
now. Right. Now here, it's like you got to think about the United States. How many different bases do we have that hold nuclear weapons? At least 5. So ideally, if you were going to do this correctly, you would have to launch either 5 bombs to counter those 5 areas and hope those detonate our bombs.
Well, not to mention the amount that we have mobile at any given
right.
Like
there's no way no repercussions happen, and you're not in a place where you can defend that.
Yeah.
You might do damage to the country, but you just eradicated yourself.
Yeah.
In any country that you look at, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really see nuclear war as an option, even with somebody with an ego that's like, I'll just push the button. I don't give a fuck. I'll push it.
No, all right. More likely is in the name of science, something like the Hadron Collider explodes antimatter and we all die from it. We inadvertently create a black hole. Science will be the death of us.
Right. But how do you know we died? Maybe we hurl into another dimension and... Possible.
Maybe we already did. Maybe the first time they turned the Hadron Collider on, that's why we have the Mandela effect, is that we shifted realities at that point.
I mean, we're just a part of the simulation at the end of the day. It's up to the robots to give us the feedback of what took place.
They're putting patches in the background and changing history.
I don't doubt that. Like, I'm not one of the motherfuckers that's like, you know, tinfoil hat. Like, I know it's true. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is I may be a church of the sub-genius, right? Because I don't believe in absolute truths. That's a fact.
Right.
I do not believe in absolute truths. That's one thing that I saw that I was like, I do like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you can't be so sure of yourself that you're unwavering when something like that can't happen.
It is
the snap of a finger. We can be in a different parallel, and it'd be in a situation where it's like, oh, that shit that you thought would never just happen. What do you say now?
Right.
Maybe we do die from nuclear war. With that being said.
Well, I mean, that's
myself into a circle. I'm a madman.
That's the whole thing with like being agnostic, right? It's just that you acknowledge that it can't all be known. Like, agnostics believe that there is a higher power, but that higher power is so beyond our understanding, there's no hope to actually understand it.
Well, I believe that.
Similarly, from a like absolute
I feel like that's
truth,
a sub-religion. I feel like Christians can feel that way.
Well, fair. I think there are agnostic Christians.
Then that's what I am.
That you just can't be sure because it's not possible to know.
Right. And I don't think that you could question the story of Jesus, right? Because there's been so many things that happen that has had to have happened. Now, when the belief comes about the resurrection and all that, that's where, you know, that's where the divine takes place. That's where, but all the story up to then.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I couldn't.
There are other religions. I mean, even
I can't even dispute the resurrection, honestly.
Even most that follow Judaism believe that Jesus was a prophet.
Listen,
like,
I'm gonna tell
you
something,
dude.
Right? I think we just figured it out.
What did we figure out?
I'm gonna tell you something. This is interesting. I just saw this the other day. Do you know what the term "Saved by the Bell" where that came from?
I mean, isn't it a boxing thing?
That's what my stepdad said too. No, it came long before then.
Okay.
So the term "Saved by the Bell" comes from
Zach Morris. Timeout.
You said what?
I said Zach Morris. Timeout.
You stupid. Right. That was it. Listen, waiting for that dad joke, and he hit it. Saved by the Bell. So back in the day, there was an epidemic. I can't remember what it was. I can't name it. But what the symptoms would do is it would slow down your heart to where it would barely beat. You would stop breathing and you would basically fall into like a light coma type situation. So what would happen is the people who had this and weren't responsive would get marked as dead and buried. grave robbers would then dig up their body for jewelry. And what happened was, out of the trend of doing that, they noticed a whole bunch of graves with scratches on the inside
they put bells
of the
on
coffin.
it. I actually have heard this before. Now that you're
what they would do is, for the wealthy that could afford it, they would pay extra for them to cut a hole through your coffin, run a rope into it connected to a bell, and they would sit it on top of you when they viewed you. So if you suffered from that and woke up, you could ring the bell and someone would dig you up. That also is where the term graveyard shift comes from, because the people then had to hire ones to stay overnight in case the bells got rung while everybody else was sleeping.
Right.
So I say that to say that I wouldn't even doubt the resurrection from stories like that. It may not have been a situation where he was all the way dead.
That he was dead and then he just...
Right. And you didn't bury him low enough that he couldn't dig his way out. And now you looking like this man rose from the dead.
Or his followers kept watch over him after he was taken down and basically...
I don't know. I just said I don't believe in absolute truth. So I'm not against the theory that he was actually dead and rose from it. I'm not against that either. I can't say that out of all the years that we've been on this earth, something like that hadn't happened.
Right.
I'd be a fool to say, nah, never. Nah. Too much happens in this world for me to be like, nope, couldn't happen.
That's the difference between resuscitation and resurrection. Resurrection means you believe it was divine. Resuscitation means you believe that he was dead, but we managed to bring him back.
Right.
He managed to come back.
But how many successful self-resuscitations take place?
Oh, that's the thing. You don't know. You don't know if it was self.
Maybe it would have to be, because if you buried him,
maybe somebody. Well, that was my point. Like
said he came back to life.
Yep.
That's why you said the followers could have been. I'm following now.
But again, who knows? This is all lost to ancient history.
But once again,
it would be fun to go back and watch, though. Like time travel, go back in time. All right, where did Jesus get buried? Let's go find out. Let's go see what this real story is.
Oh, I seen a TikTok. I seen a TikTok, and Joe Rogan was talking about Jordan Peterson explaining time travel, and you wouldn't be able to do that.
No, you couldn't.
You can only go back and forward from the time that the time machine took place. So the furthest you would essentially be able to go back, if everything was true, was Nikola Tesla. If he successfully created it back then, that would be the furthest you would be able to get back to.
Why?
Because that's the door. Because that time machine is the door that you walk through. But if there is no time machine in that time, you can travel to it, but how do you get to that time?
Well, I mean, I think about it the way, like, with the Avengers Endgame, which is there's a device in this time, there's something that you take with you that anchors you back to this time that, you know, you're only...
Well, no, I'm more so thinking of how do you get to... Basically, the way they were describing it is you still need that time machine to get through. You know what I'm saying? That opened the door.
Depends on what you believe the time machine to be. Like, yeah,
right, that made time secular instead of linear. So with only one, where can you really travel? You know what I'm saying? But if you have a time machine and you're traveling to a time that had a time machine, then it's easy. It's a doorway.
I hear the point there.
That's the way they explained it.
Right.
I just said I don't believe in absolute truth. You may not need a time machine. You can do it with your mind.
Maybe. But I think traditional time travel would mean that the machine is actually what takes you there, not that You're just walking through a doorway.
I agree with that, and yeah, that sounds a lot. That sounds very Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure-ish.
Yeah.
But I also think the way that I explained it was also thought of by arrogant scientists that thought they knew it all.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I mean, what's interesting is time travel is possible by today's understanding. What's not possible is going backwards. You can go forwards. It's getting the propulsion necessary and being able to withstand the forces that get you closer to the speed of light. Right. That's the whole interstellar thing, is that...
Didn't they say that the dude that broke the land speed barrier technically went forward in time?
I don't know, but I believe it. Because
I think there was an article saying that he technically went forward in time based on how fast he was going.
Right, and that basically if you were running a stopwatch in both places, somehow his is faster,
right,
or whatever it is. Yeah,
it was something weird like that. I'm pretty sure I saw that article, but I also could be wrong. But once again, I don't believe in absolute truths. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what could be.
Yeah. No, I think there's plenty of stuff like that just is beyond our current understanding, or our past understanding. You and I have had that talk a lot. Again, circling back to Wicca and witchcraft and Wiccanism. A lot of the belief there is that there are natural elements and natural things. Wicked. I mean, do I practice it? No. Do I have a leaning towards it? So, I don't know if you remember this. My mom does a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
And she gave me it was a sage pouch, and it was that and a couple of other things. And it was
I burn sage all the time.
But it was for good fortune. And she's like, just keep this in your wallet, and things will work out.
My Reeds, I need you to give me one of these.
But within a month of that, I got my first post-college job.
That's what's up. Nah, I do think that. But I don't. I think that there's a lot of things like that. I think that's the same reason people wear crystals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't. And let's be honest, because they say that the Bible says that if you believe of that, then that's the opposite of,
because it's material.
The Lord or whatever. But I do think that there is power in a lot of things that are on this earth. And that's what questions me to, is that a revision of?
Yeah.
Because God said you could consume anything that the earth provides. Yet you make marijuana illegal, you make mushrooms illegal, and then I start to question why.
Yeah, but that's big pharma.
Or is it something
that's the
deeper?
Capitalistic,
you know what I mean?
Maybe
big pharma came after it was already stigmatized, because that could get you closer to.
Well, I mean,
that could get you answers you seek type shit. And we don't need you having answers. We don't need you outside the realm of, listen, they're putting fluoride in the water, which is a known brain function reducer. Fluoride in your toothpaste. There's shit in food now that you can't get rid of. And they make it illegal for you to be able to farm big plots of land on your own privately. Unless you're a registered farm. So that lets you know they're trying to dim some pathway that we have.
Under the guise that it's money related. So you think it's more sinister than just being control
big
from
pharma.
A financial perspective? Right. It's possible.
Now we're coming to a point where we're finding out that mushrooms can be a cure for depression and shit like that. And it's like, well, I mean, what would make you think we've been doing the same thing with weed, right? We found out weed helps with seizures and epilepsy and all that, but it's like that's what it was here for in the first place. But you stopped that. Now, I don't know how far the science has gone with mushrooms, but
well, the problem is that it's still Schedule 1, so there you can't do the clinical testing on it, etc. Except in places where it's been decriminalized, and even then, you're not getting any federal funding. It's all state funding, blah blah blah.
I mean, I do think it could definitely be deeper than just this may be able to heal you better than this.
Well, and maybe to your point though, maybe it started that way and now it has become because of money. Like to your point, maybe like from a coming here and the Native Americans and like we demonized it as being other to basically protect ourselves or to protect the beliefs of the colonizers, that rather than seeing them, quote unquote, go native, like to keep them away from it, it was demonized to your point of, or stigmatized. Like that's something that those that are less than us do.
Right.
Maybe that was the original intent, and then capitalist society started to come in.
Capitalize on the fact that that's no longer around.
Right. And they're the ones that kept it from becoming mainstream.
I feel like it's all by design, and while we think in chess, they always playing checkers, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I said that backwards.
It's the Illuminati.
They probably made me say that shit backwards.
Probably
just to discredit my
fluoride
point.
In the water.
That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
The Church of Subgenius.
All right, any other ones on your list?
Oh, the like weird ones? Let me see. Yeah, because I don't have a problem questioning those.
By the way,
let's be honest. I don't have a problem questioning in general.
Yeah.
But I guess what I meant to say is I don't have a problem making entertainment out of.
Yeah.
That's probably what I should have said. Because I think it's healthy to question. Because I truly believe questioning leads to more devotion.
Well, I think questioning, too, really leads to better outcomes.
Right. Like when you question something and you get your answers and you're like, I can rock with that. That in turn makes me more loyal to
that answer. Yep.
Right.
No,
number one. And I didn't even read this one. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I didn't even read this one. I read the title and was like, I'm done. Turning it off. Title is, hold up, let me even try to pronounce this. Okay. Number one on their list, and this is list25.com. Frisbee Terrarianism.
Frisbeetarianism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Frisbeetarianism. One of the most bizarre religions in the world. Frisbeetarianism is a parody of the spiritual belief in life after death. The founder of the movement, American actor and comedian George Carlin, defined the concept of the religion as a belief that when a person dies, his or her soul rises and is thrown like a frisbee onto a roof, where it becomes attached and remains.
It just stays there.
But eventually somebody gets that frisbee off.
Somebody does.
Maybe the seasons and the ice knock it off. Eventually that frisbee comes off.
I mean, that's, you know, I know this makes me a nerd, but Church of the Force, the belief that there is the living force and then there's the cosmic force, and once you pass from one, you enter into the other. That the living force is all living beings, all objects, all things, and then there's a state of being beyond that where you become the connective tissue by entering the cosmic force, by becoming one with the force after death. And that doesn't mean your body disappears, but
so
like
is that
idea
like
that your soul,
with,
the idea
is that rocking with what is it? Damn, I can't think of the name. It's not Hindu. Damn, it's one of those over there though, where it's like you have to continue doing this until you get it right.
Buddhism or something with reincarnation. I mean, here's the flip side: is I don't necessarily believe that that means that you have to, that it implies reincarnation. I think it implies that you become part of that connective tissue of the galaxy or the universe.
But what does life consist of as?
Unknown, unknowable. You become part of the driving forces in the universe that bring things together or push them apart or whatever. It connects us. It
like a gust of wind?
Sort of. Or that innate magnetism you feel between yourself and someone or something else. Like maybe it's my pops, part of the cosmic force that has kept us together all these years.
I mean, it could definitely be. It could definitely be. See, that's where it gets my mind working. Like, I don't know. Now, stop it. Because I just blew my own shit back in real time.
Yeah, I saw it happen. It was like processing, error.
Right. Immediately what I was thinking is, so do you just keep doing that forever? Or does that force then get placed somewhere after a level of achievement?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
what's the influence you wield at that point? Does your influence grow, or do you become more one with other elements of the cosmic force? I mean, that's always the interesting thing to me when like the force is discussed is, again, you've got like the calm and flow, the natural ebb and flow of things, and then you've got almost willful passion that is able to change that flow, kind of like a river current. Like a river is going to flow no matter what you do, but you can redirect that flow.
Right.
And you can do things to kind of stop that flow or at least force that flow through another channel. And that's the light and the dark. You got to be able to do both. And know when to do both. So the light side and the dark side are not inherently good and evil. They're two sides of the same coin. And it's
is that what your menstruation is? And I asked that question honestly, right?
My menstruation? That's a great question. I don't know.
Well, yours and mine as well. Maybe not a menstruation for us, but you know how even men have that time of the month.
Oh, yeah, where we just get salty for no reason.
Where it's just like, and the reason why I asked that is because I feel like when you said that, like yin and yang, I thought of like a screensaver.
Okay.
Of a yin, that sign, the sign of the yin and the yang. What is that called?
I think it's just yin yang, isn't it?
It could be. I think that's the Western name. No, I'm just playing. I don't know.
Mine's
but I
the
thought
Prime
of that,
Jedi.
right? And I thought of like motherfuckers riding something along the lines.
Okay.
Right. And you circle around the dark and then you circle back around the light. But you can't forget those circles in the middle too.
Yeah.
So somebody might find you overly in the white, like overly feeling good and helpful and loving. And then people may catch you on that circle in the dark. And that's your deepest dark right there.
Yeah.
Because you're not on the outside of
you're
this
on the
shit.
Inside.
You're right going through it. You're right in this shit.
Well, and the thing in the middle, like where they're meeting, you have the option.
Right. You're even keeled at that point. You're just riding that line until you get back around to one of those sides.
Right.
But one of those sides is, I feel like that's accurate when, at least to my description.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely find yourself circling one side more than the other.
Right.
The question
even
is,
by myself, right? Because I don't know if it's just me, but I can feel myself being evil to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether it's like some self-deprecative shit or whatever the case may be, and then I can feel myself high on myself.
Yeah. Like, I'm the fucking man. What the fuck are you
Right.
talking about?
And then I can also feel myself riding those lines in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know where did that theory or that way of thinking come from?
I don't know. I think that that's a little bit of innate, like, human nature.
No, I think it's the perfect description of us. That's why I said whoever came up with that got it right on the money.
Eastern philosophy.
Target emojis. Ain't nobody make no religion about that.
Right.
Or did that?
Probably.
I don't know.
The cult of emoji.
Right. Listen, it's fools.
They only speak in emojis. Eggplant, peach, water, peach.
Listen.
I'm sorry, those are my text messages.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh man. All right, dude.
And she's texting back, green face, dot.
Hater. All right.
I'm just playing.
All right, we're at our 90-minute mark. Anything else you want to hit on tonight? I think that was a good discussion.
Yeah, I don't have nothing.
All right, man. Well, you want to take us out? What you got? Any closing
Love
words?
everybody. Love everybody in whatever religion it is that you believe in. As long as you spreading love and good vibrations, continue believing in it.
Amen. All right. Well, do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Catch you later. Peace out, fools.